Hi, welcome to Leap Taken. This is Mika. Here at Leap Taken, I talk about all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. And today, this is part 3 of my Cottage Witchery Series. It's the final video in the series. So after this, head on over and get started on the workshop. The details are in the description. It's ready to go. Part 1 for sure is ready to go for you to go deeper into these topics of cottage witchery. And let's go ahead without further ado and get into part 3. So some of the main sections I focused on in cottage witchery are kitchen magic, magical potions, and self-care magic. Okay, so these are some of the other sections. So I talked a lot about protection magic in the last video, and just kind of an overview and an idea of what cottage witchery even is. So now I kind of want to go into a little bit more detail. So kitchen magic, this is where, as I alluded to in part 1, I can focus on a lot of different types of magic in the kitchen, healing for sure. There's nothing like seeing, in my case, one of my kids or my husband, family, who are struggling with something. They've had a really bad day or been having a series of bad days for various reasons, and they, could use a little boost of healing energy and just a little bit of understanding, besides just maybe listening to them and talking to them. So other ways you can do that is through food. And, we already know that, we call it soul food, certain things that makes you feel good. You feel warm inside, you feel full, and you just feel great. So you can add on to that with cottage witchery, kitchen magic, and be very selective about the type of ingredients you put in your food, because that will translate into a successful spell. Basically, a healing, a healing meal can help somebody internally actually just feel better, the digestion of the food, and they can feel full, satiated, and they feel great. But also, metaphysically speaking, they will also feel a little bit more whole, a little bit more understood, a little bit more together than maybe they were before they ate the food. Okay? I really believe that taste, like food that tastes really good, it can have a positive consequence. Using natural ingredients and herbs and things like that into your food is already beneficial to begin with. Now, to be intentional about it when using these herbs and identifying them for their magical properties as well as their tastiness is perfect as the cottage witch. That is perfect. And to do this on a somewhat regular basis is even great. Now, one of the things that you can do, and story time, because I prefer to narrate, I think that makes understanding a little bit better. There was a time I was in the kitchen and I was cooking, and I recall having a situation in the family. It was just a lot of discord amongst the family. My son was very much in his teen years. My daughter was away at school, so there was a little friction with that. We missed her, and the dynamic in the family just totally changed. We went from 2 to just 1. And as I mentioned, my son, as teenagers, they test boundaries. So there's a lot of unnecessary tension with him just hormonally trying to adjust. And I remember just feeling it and just like little sparks of arguments starting in the household. So I made a meal, and I made a meal that I know both my guys love, my husband and my son, and that I would enjoy as well. And I made sure to prepare it as best as I could. I didn't have a lot of fresh ingredients around. It was jar spaghetti. They love that. They love jar spaghetti. I just add meats, and I flavor the meat with herbs, dried herbs that's already in the cabinet. So it was a very basic, simple, semi-homemade meal. And what I was able to do with that is I just, for lack of better words, I just spoke my intention into the pot of sauce, the meat sauce. I spoke my intention on having peace in the home and more on one accord and a balance in family. And I just kept my hand over that pot of food, and I just basically willed it so. So when they ate, everybody felt so much better at the end of that meal. I'm not going to lie to you. Everybody was actually in a really great mood, and everybody got along great. And that was the end of the evening, and it was fine. That that's a taste of kitchen magic. which again, for the purposes of what I'm talking about, overall falls under the umbrella of cottage witchery. Okay. Um, Sometimes if you just work with what you have in your kitchen, which is to me the epitome of being a cottage witch, just working with what you have, the ingredients, the objects, the things that you have, and making them magical. So I made that jar of spaghetti sauce very magical that night, and it worked. And that's basically what I'm trying to get you to. Hopefully, the series has kind of got you thinking, and the workshop is going to take you a step further. Magical potions. Now, about magical potions. Um, my cup of tea is a magical potion. My cup of coffee is a magical potion. My glass of water is the epitome of the best magical potion out there anywhere. Because water, we need it to live, so it's an essential. And you can infuse that. That's why you see a lot of people putting crystals and things like that in their water. Great cottage witch thing to do as well. But yeah, your water. Now we could take it a step further. As a cottage witch, you may be collecting your rainwater. You know, you might put that water out during lunar phases of full moon, and it becomes, you know, full moon water or new moon water for that matter, if you choose to do that. The point is, you can do all those things and actually ingest it and drink it, use it in your kitchen, use it to pour into your garden, and you can fortify it that way. And those herbs are now using moon water. It, you know, you can just layer the heck out of it with all your magical goodies just with a glass of water. Okay. Um, but to take it a step further than just using water, did you realize that you can also use alcohol? Yes, alcohol, wine, cocktails, drinks, all that sort of stuff, beer. You can use all that and you can actually turn that into a magical potion. Um, I think it has its own magical properties as well. The way some of us act once we've had something to drink, you would think it was magic. So, uh, yeah, the alcoholic beverages definitely fit the bill as far as magical potions. Now, the thing about magical potions, as much as I'd love to delve into them, and I've been doing so, you want to be careful about specifically the alcohol for obvious reasons. You don't want to overindulge. But too much of anything is not good for you. You want to be mindful as a cottage witch, noticing a theme yet? You want to be mindful that you have balance. To me, a big part of cottage witchery, as I've mentioned before, is maintaining the energy, the balance in my home, in and around my home. I'm part of that. I'm tied in. So if my energy is, you know, constantly, you know, kind of all over the place and it's not consistent, that's going to be reflected in my home. So yes, myself included, it's important. So with my potions, specifically the alcoholic ones, I'm very careful to watch my intake of that and to not be in a position where I feel like I'm always relying on that particular magical potion to get me through whatever I'm going through that requires the magical potion. But I think that's good, right? Balance. Balance is key. And then I just wanted to talk a little bit about self care because I just kind of alluded to that. I'm connected, me and the house, the energy of the home and around it, we're all connected. So I'm currently sitting outside my backyard. It's a work in progress, but almost done, believe it or not. Some things were moved around, and I'm actually in a more nicer spot until we get everything just right. Um, there's a couple more things we're going to do, but I live in a desert. It's Arizona, so grass is not really a thing here, at least where I'm at, especially in this new construction. It's rocks, brick. That's it. So we're container garden people. That's what I have all around me. This actually makes my husband and I both very chill. It makes us feel good, you know, to come out here and be in our little private space. It feels really cocooned. Although I do have neighbors, it feels private, and we love that. And we're grateful, thankful. We're in a place of gratitude, and I feel like the house energy recognizes that, and it's just a good frequency. You know, whenever we come out here, I feel like, you know, it works for us. It just feels like everything is really just chill and cool when we come out into the backyard, or you know, when we're doing any sort of gardening. You know, it's a creative. It's a stress relief, and it's all that. And I think that energy, what we're feeling, the house, it resonates with the home, basically the home's spirit, its essence, its energy. And that's good because I'm tied in it. It feels that, it feels the inhabitants and what's going on. So self-care is going to be really important. Witchy self-care is going to be super important for the cottage witch because, well, your house is going to know it. Well, in the same way that everybody in your house knows you're overworked, overstressed, you haven't taken a break, you need to take a break. They can feel that energy too, and so will the house. So, you want to basically be putting magical intentions into your body care products, including hair products, you know, speaking positivity over yourself as much as possible. These are acts of witchy self care, at least the way I do it. And as you look in the mirror, for instance, you want to speak positivity over your life, over your face, over what your reflection, what you see. You want to just speak positively about yourself, get personal about certain features. Um, this is one of those situations where you almost need to fake it till you make it. Skin, not skin, well, skincare if you're having an issue, but just looking at that reflection as a witch. Sometimes we don't like what we see back. You have got to start getting in tune with that and just appreciating what you see and finding all the things, not faults, all the things that you want to focus on, not necessarily to get better, but that you think are the best. If it's just one thing, that's cool. But those are acts of self care, acceptance, understanding who you are, and learning to play up those features if you so choose to. It sounds a little, you know, like I'm sort of minimizing it because I understand some people have serious issues about the way they look and they don't even want to look at themselves. But as a practicing witch, as a cottage witch, you're gonna need to come to terms with that. Can we say shadow work? That might be the ultimate act of self-care if you could start yourself up on a shadow work journey. I think that's very important to go deep. I really do. I think that is how you see yourself, how you present to the world, and that's more to do with not just how you physically look, but your attitude about the way you feel about the way you look. That's very important, and that will tie into your cottage witchery. Um, Also, if you're not living alone, if you don't live alone and there are other people in your home, you want to encourage them also to look their best, whatever the best is. And this is not about clothes, makeup, hair, or anything specific. It really starts within. And again, we're trying to keep a balance of energy in the home. So make sure that you can, as best as you can, because I realize if you have certain people, people are going to do what they want to do. But if it's possible, just try to reinforce positivity in the people who live in your home, and that they can learn how to do that themselves. Share with them um, the standing in the mirror and out loud speaking positivity about things on your face, the way you look, your hair, your color of your skin, the way you're shaped, the way, all of that, everything, all the little details. Just start saying it and see what happens. It's magic, I tell you. And that has a domino effect. Um, it's more of a vibration. So it's kind of like when you drop something into a still body of water, drop a stone and it ripples out. Same thing with this. This ripples out. All these things, like I told you before, cottage witchery is like a huge umbrella. I should go like this, a huge umbrella. All right. And also remember, learn to have gratitude. This is what I will end this series with. Gratitude. Gratitude is super important. Learn to experience it, learn to express it. That takes you a long way, in my opinion, when we're talking law of attraction, when we're talking manifesting, and when we're talking spells, ritual, and just witchcraft in general. Being in a place of gratitude, being grateful for the home that you have, being grateful for the space that you currently reside in. I understand, I've been there, I have been in places where it wasn't really my dream home, and there was really, it's kind of almost a nightmare scenario living there, but I tried to find something out of it, the best something out of it. Don't get confused with the people in the home and the physical space. Sometimes we have people in our lives who are the problem. It's not the space. So you're tying the emotions you feel with the person to the physical space, where that's maybe not the case. It's the people, and maybe the people need to go, not the you need to leave the space if that's possible. No, seriously, that true story, that's what happened. It was never the space, it was always the people. And yeah, just stay in a place of gratitude, stay being very thankful, and just watch how the universe shows up for you. That's just a witchy tip, pro tip in general. Gratitude is the key to a lot of successful workings, rituals, and spells. All right, so that is going to conclude part 3. Again, just a reminder, if you're interested in learning a lot more about cottage witchery, please go and to the link down at the bottom that I have here in the description, where I have an entire workshop that goes a lot more in detail about cottage witchery, the way I personally practice, and I've made it so that regardless if you're me or not, you can find value and you can find a way to sort of carve out your own practice of cottage witchery. So please go ahead and check that out. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, share. Go ahead and if you've already subscribed, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And thank you again for watching. Bye-bye.